Hello, guys. Very basic Bible, very basic Bible dot org edu com gov. I don't have a website. Just go to my YouTube page. I got a Twitter and a Facebook page that nobody looks at. I hardly ever do any. There's nobody. Whatever. Here we go. We're gonna do a Ruth Bible study. Let's share that screen. Make my face a little bit bigger. You know what I mean. A little bigger there. Yeah. Okay, here we go. That's my coat. All right. We are in Ruth chapter 4, but we're going to get a running start from chapter 3. All right. So I'm going to read the whole chapter. I'm going to try not to stop. Here we go. Then her mother-in-law, Naomi, said to her, one second, guys. I have to. Hey, I'm back. Maybe I never left. My cats were fighting. Had to stop them. Locked one of them in our bedroom. He'll go fall asleep on the bed. Everybody's happy. Here we go. Then her mother-in-law, that is Ruth's mother-in-law. Then her mother-in-law, Naomi, said to her, "My daughter, shall I not seek security for you, that it may go well for you?" A resting place. Now then, is Boaz not our relative, with whose young women you were? Behold, he is winnowing barley at the threshing floor tonight. Wash yourself, therefore, and anoint yourself, and put on your best clothes, and go down to the threshing floor. But do not reveal yourself to the man until he has finished eating and drinking. And it shall be, where he lies down, that you shall take notice of the place where he lies. And you shall go and uncover his feet and lie down. Then he will tell you what you should do. And she said to her, "All that you say I will do." This is a good example. And she said to her, wait, she's who said to who her? Pretty obvious here that, and Ruth said to Naomi. So Naomi's been talking up here. Then Ruth said to Naomi. But sometimes you get in some books of the Bible, and it's like, he said this, and he said that, and he said this to him, who said that, who said him. Then he said to him, and you're like, wait, which one said to who? Wait, who's the he and the him? That happens sometimes in some books, especially in the books of Kings and Chronicles. I think it's like, so, okay. So Ruth, went down to the threshing floor and did according to all that her mother-in-law had commanded her. When Boaz had eaten and drunk, and his heart was cheerful, he went down to lie down at the end of the heap of grain. And she came secretly and uncovered his feet and lay down. And it happened in the middle of the night that the man was startled and bent forward, and behold, a woman was lying at his feet. So he said, "Who are you?" And she answered, "I am Ruth, your slave. Now spread your garment over your slave, for you are a redeemer." Then he said, May you be blessed of the Lord, my daughter. You have shown your last kindness to be better than the first, by not going after young men, whether poor or rich. So now, my daughter, do not fear. I will do for you whatever you say, for all my people in the city know that you are a woman of excellence. But now, although it is true that I am a redeemer, yet there is also a redeemer more closely related than I. Remain this night, and when morning comes, if he will redeem you, good, let him redeem you. Act as a closer look. But if he does not wish to redeem you, then I will redeem you as the Lord lives. Lie down until morning. Okay. So she lay at his feet until morning and got up before one person could recognize another. And he said, "Do not let it be known that the woman came to the threshing floor." Again, he said, "Give me the shawl that is on you and hold it." So she held it, and he measured 6 measures of barley and laid it on her. Then she went into the city. When she came to her mother-in-law, she said, "How did it go, mother?" Right here. When she came to her mother-in-law, she said, "Well, how do you know?" Okay, so what is Ruth going to say to her? "How did it go, my daughter?" Wait, Ruth said to her mother-in-law, how did it go, my daughter? Okay, got to do a little thinking here. BJ, it's so obvious. Hey, very basic Bible. Okay, when so when she came to her mother-in-law, she said, "How did it go, my daughter?" Obviously, the daughter is Ruth. Okay, and why would Ruth ask her mother-in-law, "So how did it go?" No, Ruth is who the action has been focused on. Ruth went and did something, then came back to her mother-in-law. So who would the she be? It'd be her mother-in-law. When Ruth came to her mother-in-law said or asked, "How did it go, my daughter?" Who are you, my daughter? That's strange. Literally, who are you? Uh, how did you fare? Maybe who are you is an idiomatic way. An idiomatic way. I don't know. Okay, how did it go, my daughter? And she told her all that the man had done for her, Boaz. She also said, "These 6 measures of barley he gave to me, for he said, 'Do not go to your mother-in-law empty-handed.'" Then she said, the she here would be Ruth, because Ruth is the one who got the 6 measures of barley, and Boaz told Ruth not to go to her mother-in-law empty-handed. Then she said, "Wait, my daughter." Okay. Then the mother-in-law said, "Wait, my daughter, until you know how the matter turns out, for the man will not rest until he has settled it today." Okay, next chapter. Here we go. Now, when is the now? Now, Ruth did sleep all night, then got up, and Boaz said, "Hey, don't let it be known that a woman's here." Then Boaz gave her food, then she went home. So in the morning, before too many people were up, I'm guessing, because hey, don't let it be known that a woman was here. So you try to do it before too many people wake up. In fact, I think, 1 second. May the Lord, so now my daughter is, it's true, I am a redeemer, remain this night. So she lay and got up before one person could recognize another. Okay, so they got up kind of early. He's like, "Hey, I don't want anybody to know that a woman was here." Got my water. Went for a run earlier. Get me some coffee and food later, but for now, get me some water. Okay. Yes, I go for runs. I don't run down the sidewalk for 3 miles and then run back. That's no fun. Used to, I would run on trails in the woods, but my feet hurt too much. I would always be hurting my feet, sometimes my knees and my legs. So I stopped doing that. Now I run down the sidewalks, but I run to fun places. Like I go to my downtown in my little city, run up and down stairs. There's sidewalks that kind of go up and down. You got to cross streets. You got to go around pedestrians. Kind of fun. And every once in a while, I still run on trails in the woods. Try to make it fun. Trails in the woods with large rocks, with creeks you got to cross. Sometimes down to tree branches you got to jump over, and you got to duck and stuff. You got to kind of climb and keep from tripping and slipping. And you jump in the creek. It's fun. Yeah. Okay. Now, could be in the morning. That's what I'm guessing. Because Ruth was told by Naomi. Naomi told Ruth, "The man will not rest until he is settled this day." She's very confident. Naomi, very confident Boaz, he's going to do it. So, hey, right now, Boaz went up to the gate and sat down there. Why is he going to the gate to sit down? I thought he wasn't going to rest until he's going to sit by a gate. What gate? And behold, the Redeemer of whom Boaz spoke was passing by. So he said, "Come over here, friend, sit down here." And he came over and sat down. So Boaz goes out to the gate, whatever the gate is. He goes to the gate. He sees the man, just happens to be passing by, the Redeemer. 1 second. Okay. Remain this night when morning comes. If he will redeem you, good. Let him redeem you. Okay. It is true that I am a redeemer, yet there is also a redeemer more closely related than I. Remember, the closer the relation has to redeem. There we go. All right. So Boaz goes to the gate. He says, hey, man, you're the redeemer. Come sit over here, friend. Actually, he doesn't say redeemer. He just says, come sit over here, friend. And the dude came over and sat down. I don't know. I guess if Boaz, evidently he has fields. He has fields big enough for servants. He needs servants. He has women that go to his field, and he says, hey, Ruth, come stay in my field with my women. He tells the servants, don't. So the servants listen to him. Don't touch her. He tells the servants, so they listen. Now, he goes to the threshing floor himself and winnows. You would think he'd have his servants do that, but they were eating and drinking there, so maybe it's like a party or something. Maybe they do it for fun. Boaz seems to be, I mean, nobody important necessarily, but if it's say it's a small town, which every town was back then, in chapter 1, it talked about whenever Naomi got home, all the town was stir because they got home, and the women were like, hey, there's Naomi. So when you can go home, when you can be walking home after you're gone for years, you get home and the whole town is buzzed because you got home. Either A, you're somebody important, and or B, more likely it's a small town and anything excites them. Whoa, something exciting happening. Somebody came back after many years. Maybe Naomi was important. It didn't tell us that. It just told us the whole town was a buzz. Well, here, Boaz, come sit down, friend. I'm guessing Boaz, people know him. I'm guessing the guy knows him. That's my guess. People often in this Bible study, people are like, Boaz was a prominent man in the town. How do we know? I don't know. Maybe people say because fields and stuff. Lots of people had fields, not lots of people, but it wasn't super uncommon. I mean, his servants didn't have field; they worked for him. So, all right, but it's not super uncommon to have fields. Okay, then he, that is Boaz, took 10 men of the elders of the city and said, sit down here. So they sat down. Where did he get these elders from the city? Why did he make them sit down? First, this one dude's like, okay, I'll come sit down. He's at the gate. He's like, I'll come. I guess they got chairs at the gate. They got benches so they can sit on the ground. Does a gate, I don't know, have seats, it'd be a funny gate. You open and close and it's got seats on it and you swing as it opens. What kind of gate? You got little bitty gates that you just barely open. It's got a little latch. You got bigger wooden gates. You got to, really push. You got a drawbridge type gate. Princess Bride, physic, the portcullis. And he grabs it, and he throws it up and they say, give us the gate key. The guy says, I have no gate key. Oh, you mean physic, tear his arms off. Oh, you mean this gate key. Okay. If you haven't seen Princess Bride, go watch it now. You can pause this and go watch it. If you have seen it, you can pause this and go watch it again. The Princess Bride, physic, the portcullis. Anyway, a gate. What kind of gate? I don't know. Why did that man come sit down? I don't know. Took 10 elders of the city. Boaz is able does he have them on hand? Or are they just right there? Did he get this ready ahead of time? It does say it was in the morning. No, I'm wrong. It says Ruth went to her mother-in-law in the morning. And then it says, now Boaz went, does it mean right this second? Over here. Meanwhile, Boaz went up to the gate. Right here, they don't even have the now. Boaz went to the gate of the town. I'm guessing it's that same day. That's my guess. But where did he get 10 men, 10 elders? Maybe people think, oh, he's a prominent man of the city because he was able just to grab 10 elders. Home dude just is like, okay, I'll come sit down. Elder dudes are like, okay, we'll just come sit down too. 10 elders. Elders are pretty important people. Okay, so they came sit down. And he said to the Redeemer, Naomi, who has returned from the land of Moab, has to sell the plot of land which belonged to our brother Elimelech. Oh. So Boaz said to the Redeemer, our brother Elimelech. Remember, Boaz is related to Elimelech, but there's a Redeemer closer than him, so he must also be related to Elimelech. So, hey, Naomi, Elimelech's husband, Elimelech's dead husband, has to sell a plot of land. And guess what? Me and you are Elimelech's brothers. We should buy it for the family. So I thought that I would inform you, saying, okay, he said to the Redeemer, Naomi has returned from the land of Moab, has to sell the plot of land which belonged to our brother Elimelech. So I thought I would inform you, saying, buy it before those who are sitting here and before the elders of my people. Buy it before those, buy it, okay, ESV, buy it in the presence of those sitting here and in the presence of the elders of my people. Here, I thought I should speak to you about, okay, yeah, if you will redeem it, but if not, tell me so that I may know, for there is no one except you to redeem it, and I am after you. Close parentheses. And he said, I will redeem it. Okay, there we go. Boaz is like, hey, in front of the people seated here, it's kind of funny. He asked 10 elders, come sit down. It doesn't say there weren't other people there, but it says Boaz was sitting at the gate and says, hey man, come over here. Then Boaz got 10 elders and said, and they came and sat down. The presence of those who sit here and in the presence of the elders. That you buy it in the presence of these seated here and in the presence of the elders of my people. My guess is, this is my guess, the presence of those who sit here and the presence of the elders. Hebrew parallelism. That's my guess. You say something twice for emphasis, okay? You mean the same thing both times. So why would he do that? Because he's trying to stress, look, you're going to buy this in the okay, this isn't just like, hey, you want to buy something? Sure, here's $10. Okay, bye. No. This isn't like, okay, I've got $10. You've got the thing. Okay, give it to me. No. This isn't just like we're sitting at the dinner table talking to each other. I don't just call the guy. No. This is an official thing, maybe. Elders. That sounds kind of important. Eventually, we'll flesh this all out. Don't worry. I'm going quick through it now, but we'll talk about what gate means. We'll talk about a portion of land. We'll talk about elders. We'll talk about the man. We'll talk about all that. But for now, just a cold reading, just a reading without any context. Buy it before those who are sitting here and before the elders of my people. The only people sitting there are the elders, to our knowledge. So either A, we assume there were already people sitting there, or B, those who are sitting here are the elders, and this is Hebrew parallelism. He's saying it twice for emphasis. I want you to know that we're doing this officially in front of these people. Like, this is the real deal. This isn't just like, hey, see the elders, they know about this. No, this is, hey, there are elders there who are going to watch us. Those people who are elders are going to make sure we do that. That's will be the emphasis of the, Hebrew parallelism was usually for emphasis. So sometimes it was just poetic, I think, in the Psalms, but maybe it was for emphasis there too. Jesus repeated stuff sometimes for emphasis. Yeah. Okay, the man said, I will redeem it. Okay. Let's look at something. But now, although it is true that I am a redeemer, okay, yet there is also a redeemer more closely related than I. All right. The redeemer of whom Boaz spoke was passing by. If you will redeem it, fine. If not, for there's no one to redeem it except you, and I am after you. Okay. Why is Boaz selling this man Naomi's plot of land? I thought this was about Ruth being married off. What's going on here, I wonder? Not sure. Maybe this is, I want to say maybe this is something else Boaz is doing. Maybe he's trying to sell the plot of land for Naomi, and then later he'll get to the maybe. I mean, what's going on? Like why would it be Naomi if he was doing other kind of business? Hey, I got this plot of land. Oh, hey, here's another. But it's the Redeemer he spoke of. You come into this thinking he's going to talk about Ruth, but he's talking about a plot of land for the mother-in-law. He's not even talking about Ruth. He told Ruth, I will redeem it. Then Boaz said, on the day you buy the field from the hand of Naomi, you must also acquire Ruth the Moabitess, the widow of the deceased, in order to raise up the name of the deceased on his inheritance. When you buy the land, Boaz said, now this is all in front of the elders. That's cool. You can buy it. On the day you buy it, guess what? You also have Ruth, and you have to raise up kids for Elimelech, right? Raise up the name of the deceased. That would be for Elimelech. Elimelech had no kids, right? Elimelech had kids, but Naomi, Elimelech and Naomi had two kids, Mahlon and Chilion. Mahlon and Chilion had no kids. Mahlon and Chilion were married to Orpah and Ruth. Mahlon and Chilion died. No kids, childless. Naomi's family, Elimelech's family name, gone forever. Got no kids to carry the name on. Now Elimelech's brother, sure, he carry on his family name. Boaz was related to Elimelech. He carries on the family. So in general, is Elimelech's family name going to go away? In general, no. But his specific family, where he started, his will go away. That's no good. So, hey, when you buy this land, is this a thing that happened back then? The land come with if you take the land, you also got it. I'm not sure. Maybe it's because the way they pass down stuff is land and babies. Babies. You have land that stays in your family, and you have babies that have your name that carry on the family name. So maybe one without the other, maybe you have to keep them together. I'm not sure. That's kind of my guess. Like they're related, right? So hey, guy, when you buy the land, you're going to also acquire Ruth the Moabitess, and you're going to raise up children. Look at that. That way she can have children who will care. Over here, the New Living Translation. Of course, your purchase of the land from Naomi also requires that you marry Ruth, the Moabite widow. That way she can have children who will carry on her husband's name and keep the land in the family. Okay. You will acquire Ruth the Moabitess, the wife of the deceased man, to perpetuate the man's name on his property. To raise up the name of the deceased on his inheritance. Oh, hey, so that's why they're related. In order to maintain the name of the dead with his property. Okay. A lot of this I've been asking about playing dumb. Like, what about this? What about that? But this part actually, I never realized this. I've never read this in 7 translations. Raise up a family for the deceased on his estate. Look at this one, NET. You must also acquire Ruth the Moabite, the wife of our deceased relative, in order to preserve his family name by raising up a descendant who will inherit his property. So the NET says you're going to buy this property, but you also have to have babies with Ruth. So the babies will inherit the property. Kind of a catch-22. The property won't be the relatives. It will be Ruth's and Elimelech's. It will essentially be whoever Ruth was married to, Mahlon or Chilion. It doesn't tell us. I looked a few days ago. It doesn't tell us which one is married to which. So let's say it was Chilion. Okay. Let's say she's married to Chilion and Orpah was married to Mahlon. Just okay. This would be Chilion's property. Technically. Okay. They're saying Elimelech. Earlier they said Elimelech, right? Is it? Here we go. Elimelech. But Elimelech had kids. Mahlon and Chilion. So it would be their property. So whichever one of them, it would go through their family name. Eventually back to Elimelech, I guess. I guess Elimelech is seen as like a progenitor, paterfamilias. He's seen as a focal point. He's seen as like the man, the main one. Because like you got the whole nation of Israel traces their name back to Jacob, whose name was changed to Israel. But Jacob had 12 kids, and people say, I am of the tribe of Judah, of the nation of Israel. Okay, so now you're not just in the family of Israel, you're in the family of Judah, in the family of Israel. But wait, Abraham was called before Judah. Abraham was the first person. So they will often say Abraham was first. So they will often say, I am of the tribe of Judah, of the nation of Israel, a descendant of Abraham. So you can see there's a different starting point. You could start at Judah, Asher, Gad, Naphtali, Zebulun. Those are names of the sons of Israel. Jacob, whose name was changed to Israel, had 12 sons. Gad, Naphtali, Manasseh, Simeon, okay. So I'm of the tribe of Simeon, but then you say, I am of the nation of Israel, but then you say, I'm a descendant of Abraham. So there's a different starting point. So maybe here, Elimelech is a starting point they're worried about right there. So Elimelech is a starting point they're worried about. Mahlon and Chilion, okay, whichever one of them was married to Ruth. So in order for the land to stay, you have to buy the land. So it will stay in the family name. And in order to keep it of Elimelech and Mahlon or Chilion, and in order to keep it in the family name of Mahlon or Chilion, you have to marry Ruth and have kids so that those kids can then acquire the land for Mahlon and Chilion. Who is this Redeemer? They never even give his name. What's a good Jewish name? Let's say his name is Obadiah. Okay, it's a good Jewish name from the Bible. Obadiah is like, so I'm gonna marry her. I'm gonna buy Elimelech's land for Elimelech. Okay. Wait, I'm gonna marry Ruth the Moabitess and raise up kids for Mahlon and Chilion. Okay. Those kids, not mine, not Obadiah's kids, Mahlon or Chilion's kids will get the land. So the land will not be in my family's name of Obadiah, but it will be in the family name of Mahlon and Chilion. I mean, that makes sense. The whole point of the redemption laws, as we've read before, and we will go over again, because repetition is key. The whole point of the redemption laws is to keep the family name. Okay? It's to keep the family name going. You want to keep the land in the family. This makes sense. I am learning something new. Then the Redeemer said, I cannot redeem it for myself. Otherwise, I would jeopardize my own inheritance. Redeem it for yourself. You may have my right of redemption since I cannot redeem it. This that we talked about, to raise up family for the deceased, will carry on right here. Will carry on her husband's name and keep the land in the family to perpetuate the man's name on his property. That makes a lot of sense now. Whenever the man says, right here, I cannot exercise my right of redemption, for that would endanger my own estate. It's like, but wait a minute. It was going to be my land. Now it's not. Why would I redeem the land and then give it to the other person? He does say endanger. Look at, for it would ruin my own inheritance in that case. Okay, yeah, it would. In that case, why am I even inheriting the land? Why am I redeeming the land in the first place? The man is saying, or I will ruin my own inheritance. I'd almost like it'd be pointless. Now, if he means my own inheritance, as in the land is my inheritance, but if I marry Ruth, it's no longer mine. Or does he mean, he could mean this. Let's say he has no babies yet. Let's say this Redeemer has no babies. He's got him a wife, but then Boaz says, hey, you got to take Ruth and have babies with her. Okay. What if he has a baby with Ruth? Okay, good. Ancient thought went this way. If this man has more riches, this man will have less riches. If there are more trees in this country, there will be less trees in this country. If a bunch of rain happens over here, then it will stop raining over here. If I have a baby with Ruth, I might not have a baby with my wife. That was an ancient way. They saw limited everything. There was only so many babies, only so many trees, only so much water to go around. It was limited that way. That's the way the ancient mindset thought. We don't think of it that way. We think of it as long as there's enough physical stuff to go around, then hey, it all goes around. It's just physical. Whenever the physical stuff ends, then it ends. But it's not like there's some kind of balance in the force or whatever. It's not like on scales and stuff, you know. So the man could have been seeing this as, if I have a baby with Ruth, and then she gives that land to her son, and they have their land. But wait, that's one less baby I have to give to my wife. Might not have babies, and then pass on my own land to my wife. Or to my kids from my wife, a baby to my kids. That'd be no good, you know? So he might be worried about that. He might be thinking that way. Now, remember, I usually look up everything and go through painstaking detail. Right now, I'm just trying to read the general story. So Redeemer said, you may have my right of redemption since I cannot redeem it. Okay. Now, so close parentheses right here. Okay. Now, this was the custom in the former times in Israel concerning the redemption of the exchange of land to confirm any matter, colon. So what was the custom? What do you think? They're gonna shake hands. They're gonna sign papyrus and animal blood. I don't know, you know, whatever they used to write. They didn't write. They would put wedges on stones and clay. They would chisel. Maybe they had papyrus by this time and wrote stuff. I don't know. But how would they do it? They would trade something maybe. So here's a custom. Hey, we're going to trade land, you know, and I will give you this collateral. Let's see what do they do? Shake hands on it? I don't know. I'm trying to think of ways they do it now. But, you know, it's a sign on the dot. Okay. This was a custom in former times. Concerning the redemption and exchange of land to confirm any matter, a man removed his sandal and gave it to another. And this was the way of confirmation in Israel. Removed his sandal. Removed his sandal. Here, let's look at the good old NET. Now, this used to be the customary way to finalize a transaction involving redemption in Israel. A man would remove his sandal and give it to the other party. This was a legally binding act in Israel. Over here, this is a form of attestation in legalizing transactions. This is a method. You take off your sandal and give it to, no, I want my sandal. Dude, no, you can't just make another sandal. And some, like, there are trades, you know, leather workers, sandal makers, blacksmiths, carpenters, farmers, doctors, and they had very crude doctors back then. Sell food, sell fine wares and spices and fancy stuff. There were people who had the trade. Sandal making, probably a pretty good trade because everybody needed sandals. It probably cost a lot of money because they were, I mean, it's a sandal. Not everybody can make a sandal. It's not like today whenever they just pump out Nikes by the thousands. No. People would get super excited to have changes of clothes and to have sandals back then. Some people walked around barefooted. It's going to give a sandal away though? What the heck? This is weird. Whoever came up with the sandal thing. I'm going to look at, okay, I know we're going kind of quick through this, but I'm going to look up sandal real quick. Why in the world did the sandal? Okay. 1, 2, 3, 3, 2 in Ruth. Okay. Genesis 14, okay. That I will not take a thread or a sandal strap or anything. Okay. In context. But Abram said to the king of Sodom, okay, let's read the full chapter. War of the Kings. It came about in the days of, I'm going to read kind of fast. Amraphel, king of Shinar, Arak, king of Elasar, Chedorlaomer, king of Elam, and Tidal, king of Goim, that they made war with Bera, king of Sodom, and with Bersha, king of Gomorrah, Shinab, king of Admah, and Shebner, king of Zeboam, and the king of Bela. This is Zor. All these kings, I think there were 10, came as allies to the valley of Siddim, that is the Salt Sea. For 12 years they had served Chedorlaomer, but in the 13th year they rebelled. So the 5 kings rebelled. And in the 14th year, Chedorlaomer and the kings who were with him came and defeated the Rephaim in Ashtaroth Karnaim, and the Zuzim in Ham, and the Emim in Shava Kiriathim, and the Horites on the Mount Seir, as far as El Paran, which is by the wilderness. They want to make sure you know where they defeated them. That was this is where King Chedorlaomer defeated those dudes. Okay. Then they turned back and came to In Mishpat, that is Kadesh, and conquered all the country of the Amalekites and also the Amorites who lived in Hazazon Tamar. Man, this Chedorlaomer guy is taking everybody out. Man. And the king of Sodom and Gomorrah, the king of Admah, and the king of Zeboam, and the king of Bela, that is Zor, came out. And they lined up for battle against them in the valley of Siddim, against Chedorlaomer, king of Elam, Tidal, king of Goam, Amphra, king of Shinar, and Eric, king of Elasar. Okay, so the king of Sodom and Gomorrah, king of Admah, they all lined up against Chedorlaomer. 4 kings against 5. Now the valley of Siddim was full of tar pits, and the king of Sodom and Gomorrah fled, and they fell into them. Is there any point to that? And those who survived fled to the hill country. Then they took all the possessions of Sodom and Gomorrah and all their food supply and departed. They also took Lot, Abram's nephew, and his possessions departed, for he was living in Sodom. Then a survivor came and told Abram the Hebrew. Now Abram was residing by the oaks of Mamre of the Amorite, brother of Eshcol, the brother of Aner, and they were allies with Abram. Okay, when Abram heard that his relative had been taken captive, he led out his trained men. Heard his relative, look at this. They also took Lot, Abram's nephew. Survivor came and told Abram. When Abram heard that his relative Lot had been taken captive, he led out his trained men, born in his house, numbering 318, went in pursuit as far as Dan. Then he divided his forces against them, he and his servants, and he defeated them. He pursued them as far as Hobah, which is the north of Damascus. He brought all the possessions back and also brought his relative back, Lot, with all his possessions and also the women and other people. So after these kings are fighting, Abram's like, no way, buddy. I'm coming to get you. He comes to get Lot. He gets his possessions. He's not trying to fight all those kings. What did it say? 4 against 5? 4 against 5 kings. All these kings up here with all these weird names and all these weird places, names. Abram's not fighting them. He just wants his relatives back. Here we go. Then after Abram's return from the defeat of Chedorlaomer and the kings who were with him, the king of Sodom went out to meet him. Wait, the defeat of Chedorlaomer? I thought Chedorlaomer defeated them. Then they took all the possessions of Sodom and Gomorrah. So Abram, okay, Chedorlaomer took Lot, Abram's nephew. Abram went after Chedorlaomer. When Abram, he divided his servants, he defeated them, pursued them as far as Hobah, which is north Damascus. So whoever took Lot, he defeated them. Did he defeat all 5? 318 men defeated all 5 kings? Or maybe they just went to where Lot was, defeated those guys, got Lot and those possessions, pursued them. It was at night, I guess, and the Lord was with Abram, obviously, in this. It doesn't say that, but I think we can safely assume it. I think he brought back all the possessions. Okay, so now Abram went and laid some smackdown on Chedorlaomer. Now, after his return from the defeat of Chedorlaomer, the kings who were with him, the king of Sodom, who had just had unfortunate incidents with tar pits. Before now, the valley said who survived. Yeah, Sodom and Gomorrah fled and they fell into the tar pits. I'm guessing the king of Sodom and Gomorrah didn't, or if they did, the king of Sodom, they had another king. Hey, let's make you king. Now our other king is, down in the black goop, the tar pit down there, resting with the fishies. Are there fishies in time? No, whatever. King of Sodom went out to meet Abram at the valley of Shavi, that is the king's valley, and Melchizedek, the king of Salem. Melchizedek is the king of Salem. So if the king of Salem died, they made a new king, Melchizedek. Or maybe this is the same king. I don't know. Because it says, look at this. Those who survived fled to the, okay. Now, the valley of Siddim was full of tar pits, and the kings of Sodom and Gomorrah fled, and they fell into them. The kings fell into the tar pits. If we look this up on the parallel translations, then we might be able to see how they flesh it out. But it seems like they're saying the kings fell in them. So now we got new kings coming out, it seems. Melchizedek, king of Salem, brought out bread and wine. Now he was a priest of God Most High. Pretty cool, huh? Bread and wine, God Most High. Some people are like, look, it's communion. Jesus had bread and wine at the Last Supper. I don't know, maybe. And he was a priest of God. I mean, maybe there's a relation between this, but obviously Genesis was written well before Matthew. So maybe Jesus used bread and wine to copy the king of Salem. I don't know. All right. Now he was a priest of God Most High. And Melchizedek blessed him. Yes, Melchizedek. Melch is Edic. I don't know. Melchizedek. Blessed be Abram of God Most High. Okay, so Melchizedek blessed Abram and said, blessed be Abram of God Most High, possessor of heaven and earth. And blessed be God Most High, who has handed over your enemies to you. So Abram possesses heaven and earth, or Abram of God Most High, who possesses heaven and earth. But then it says, and blessed be God Most High. So I'm not sure. This is kind of poetic, you know. I mean, if Abram, possessor of heaven and earth could be talking about Abram here, possessor of heaven and earth, but in a very rhetorical sense. He's saying, Abram, you're so awesome. You possess you just beat all these kings. You possess all of heaven and earth. Or because his God is the God Most High who possesses heaven and earth. Therefore, Abram possesses heaven and earth. He could be saying both. The ancient mindset, both and. Abram, you possess heaven and earth. Your God possesses heaven and earth. Hey, the God Most High possesses heaven and earth, and you are his God. He is your God. I mean, he's your God. Okay. You can see how confusing this can get. Try and take it literal. This is poetic. And hey, the ancient mindset, both and, not either or. Either it's Abraham or it's God. Could be both. They just saw it that way. They saw both. This way is right. Yes. Well, what about this way? Yes. Well, what if you put them together? What do you mean? They're right. That's just the way they saw it. Blessed be God Most High, who has handed over your enemies to you. And he gave him a tenth of everything. Later, we're told, I think it's in the book of Hebrews, Abram gave Melchizedek a tenth of everything. Okay. Then the king of Sodom, okay, Melchizedek, the king of Salem. I was like, the king of Sodom probably died. The king, now here's a new king. No. The king of Sodom went out to meet him, who fell into a tar pit, or maybe not. And Melchizedek, king of Salem, brought out bread and wine. So I don't think Control F. Salem, one of one. Okay, so unless the city of Salem here has a different name, Bella, Siddim, Berkshire, king Adma, unless Zaboam, unless there's a different name for the king of Salem, for Salem, Melchizedek, king of Salem. They weren't in the battle, I guess. Yeah. Okay, guys. We just started a whole new, very basic Bible study, the War of the Kings, Genesis chapter 14. We're almost to the sandal part. He gave them a tenth of everything. Then the king of Sodom said to Abram, give the people to me and take the possessions for yourself. So Sodom's like, hey, give me the people. I'll let you keep the possessions. If I were Abram, I'd be like, dude, I defeated them. These are my possessions. But Abram said to the king of Sodom, I have sworn to the Lord God Most High, possessor of heaven and earth. So God is the possessor of heaven and earth. Abram's like, hey, it's not me, it's God. I have sworn to him, possessor of heaven, that I will not take a thread or a sandal strap or anything that is yours. So they do not say, I have made Abraham rich. Abram doesn't want people to say that the king of Sodom made Abraham rich. Okay. I, Abraham, have sworn to the Lord Most High, possessor. Yes, God Most High, possessor of heaven and earth. He's the one who possesses heaven and earth. I don't want people to be saying, I don't want you, King of Sodom, to say, I have made Abram rich. No, I don't want them to say that. So I'm not going to take even a thread or a sandal strap. I will take nothing except what the young men have eaten. Can't give it back. That'd be gross. And the share of the men who are with me, Aner, Eshcol, and Mamre. Let them take their share. Let those guys take their share, but I'm not taking any share from you. But the guys who are with me, Aner, Eshcol, and Mamre, let them take. Remember up here, he was then the survivor came and told Abram the Hebrew. Now Abram was residing by the oaks of Mamre the Amorite, brother of Eshcol and brother of Aner. They were allies with Abram. So Mamre, Eshcol, and Abram. Hey, Aner, Eshcol, and Mamre, let them take their share. But me, I'm not going to take it. I mean, besides, they, Aner, Eshcol, and Mamre, and the king of Sodom and the king of Salem, they lived in the land. Abram was just a wanderer. Remember that. If you didn't know that, okay, God's like, hey, Abram, you're going to go to this land. He does, but he's not going to own any of the land yet until later. I think God even tells Abram, don't look, you're not going to own any land, but don't worry. Your forefathers, 400 years later, will come back to this land and they'll take it. So don't worry. Had a little burpsy. All that to say, sandal has nothing to do with Ruth. A man removed his sandal and gave it to him. Abram's like, I'm not going to take a sandal from you, so it won't make you rich. Maybe then a sandal strap, take a thread or a sandal strap. I don't think so. I mean, yeah, I don't think it has anything to do with it. All right. Then God said to Moses, I looked at it really fast with my eyes, like on the screen, like I saw it up here and I read it really fast. And then I knew immediately what passage it's talking about. By now, unless you're staring at my face while I'm talking, you've probably read it. Do not come near here. Remove your sandals from your feet, for the place in which you are standing is holy ground. This is God in the form of the burning bush, telling Moses, don't come near. Remove your sandals from your feet because this is holy ground. I guess a way to show holiness back then was the removal of sandals. And God was trying to say, hey, Moses, this is holy. Remove your sandals. Because he wasn't saying, like, here's a rule. You must remove your sandals. More probably what he was saying, hey, remove your sandals. And Moses like, remove my sandals. And God said, this is holy ground. Whoa. And like it hits him. Oh, this is holy ground. And to show reverence, Moses would remove his sandals. But is this a transaction thing? No. Now this is the way you shall eat it in this way, the Passover. You shall eat the Passover in this way. How? With your garment belted around your waist, and your sandals on your feet, and your staff in your hand. You shall eat it in a hurry. It is the Lord's Passover. Why are they eating in a hurry? Okay, one night, God goes through, kills all the firstborn of the Egyptians. The Israelites, they eat the Passover that night. So you got that night they eat the Passover. Angel of death kills all the angel of the Lord, not angel of death. The angel of the Lord kills all the firstborn. The next day, Pharaoh says, leave now, all of you go. Bye. So Passover was an object lesson. They would kill a goat, put the blood over the doorpost to show that, hey, instead of my kid being killed, here's a goat being killed. God said, you're going to leave really quick. Did they know they were going to leave the next day? Maybe, maybe not. But God said, hey, eat it with your staff in your hand. They were going to leave right after they ate it with their sandals on because you're going to leave right away. They were going to leave immediately after they ate it, but this is symbolic to show that you're leaving very soon. You're going to leave in haste. Pharaoh, he's not just going to be like, okay, y'all can go now. No, he's going to be like, leave, get scat fast. So this whole garment belted around your waist, sandals on your feet, staff in your hand. In other words, get everything ready, get the car ready. The night before I have to be somewhere at 5 a.m, I put everything in the car so I can wake up at 4:50, eat breakfast, leave right away. Because I don't want to, get everything ready for quick room. So this is symbolic. You're going to eat the Passover with the staff in your hand, but then you got all night to wait. Pharaoh wakes up in the morning. You still got your staff in your hand, your sandals on it? Probably not. You probably set your staff down, took your sandals off to take a nap, to go to sleep for the night. Then in the morning, Pharaoh wakes up, figures out everything that happened at Egypt. Then Pharaoh says, Moses, leave now. Then Moses goes back and tells the Israelites, why'd you put your staff down? They're like, dude, we had to sleep. Well, then strap it to your hand. It's symbolic, right? It's symbolic, but nothing to do with Ruth. Look at this. His brother's widow. Here's one we should read. Deuteronomy 29:5, just to show that this has nothing to do with, okay. We'll go back and read the Deuteronomy 25, but right now. I have led you in the wilderness for 40 years. Your clothes, I can't see it. Your clothes have not worn out on you, and your sandal has not worn out on your foot. Sandal. Yet to this day, the Lord has not given you a heart to know, nor eyes to see, nor ears to hear. Well, that's nice. And I have led you in the wilderness for 40 years. Your clothes have not worn out on you. Your sandal has not worn out on your foot. You have not eaten bread, nor have you drunk wine or other strong drink, in order that you may know that I am the Lord your God. You have not eaten bread. But they have eaten bread. I guess they ate bread from heaven. They only ate bread provided by, okay. These great trials which your eyes have seen, those great signs and wonders. Yet to this day, the Lord hasn't given you a heart to know. Like, I've led you and your clothes haven't worn out. You haven't even eaten bread, real bread. They ate manna. Okay, they ate from God. They drank water out of a rock from God. And look at this. When you reach this place, Sihon, king of Heshbon, and Og, king of Bashan, came out to meet us for the battle. This is Moses, while the Israelites are after Pharaoh made them go, after the sandals are strapped on the Passover, Pharaoh makes them go. They're wandering in the wilderness. That when they reached this place, Sihon, the king of Heshbon, and Og, king of Bashan, came out to meet us for battle, but we defeated them. We took their land. Yet to this day, the Lord has not given you a heart to know. They're still blind. They're still, come on, people. I've even, led you, your sandals haven't worn out in the wilderness. It's like a miracle. He's going, look at all this miraculous stuff, yet your heart is still hardened. That doesn't have to seem to do with it either. Oh, hey, look at this. These clothes of ours and these sandals are worn out from the very long journey. Oh, no, that's a different thing. Okay. Some guys tricked Joshua and said, we're from a very far land. We're not from Israel. Why? Joshua was supposed to kill or drive out everybody in Israel. This area in Israel, in Canaan, he's supposed to drive out everybody in Canaan, the land which they would later call Israel. So Joshua was supposed to drive out everybody in Canaan, supposed to kill them or drive them out. These people who lived in Canaan are like, oh no, he's going to kill us. He's going to drive us out. Let's fake it. Let's pretend like we came from a really long ways. Behold, look at that. Our wineskins. We came from such a long way that our wineskins are split open. These clothes and our sandals are worn out. So they put on fake sandals. They put on sandals. They pretended it. It says eventually Joshua was like, okay, don't worry, we'll protect you. Then Joshua found out later that they were tricking him. Joshua was like, you've deceived us. But this has nothing to do. They're just talking about sandals wearing out. But up here, full chapter. If there's a dispute between people and they go to court, they go to court, an official transaction. Because over here, what was the NET? A man would remove his sandal and give it to the other party. This was a legally binding act in Israel. Okay. If there is a dispute between people and they go to court and the judges decide their case, they had elders in the book of Ruth, okay? The city gate, which I was like, what's the gate mean? A gate was often a place of prominent business dealing and city government dealing. They often did official city business. I'm going like this. I don't know why they did. They please, God, please. They often did official city business at a gate. So they were at the gate of the city. So they were at the gate where official business is done. He gets elders where he says, hey, in front of all these elders at the city gate. So hey, there's an official place. Here, if there's a dispute between people and they go to court and the judges decide their case, that's pretty official. And they declare the righteous innocent and pronounce the wicked guilty, then it shall be, if the wicked person deserves to be beaten, the judge shall make him lie down and have him beaten in the presence of the number of lashes according to his wrongful act. Yikes. So wait, this isn't about the sandal, is it? I don't know if they beat him with the sandal. No, where's the sandal? Control F. Sandal. Oh, hey, sandal. You shall not muzzle the ox while it is threshing. That's good. Let it eat some food. When your brothers live together and one of them dies and has no son, but this is about dying and having no son. This isn't about transacting land, but it is dying and not having a son. And there is a sandal involved. The wife of the deceased shall not be married outside the family to a strange man. Hey, this is the whole Redeemer thing. Here we go, guys. The whole Redeemer thing is coming back. Her husband's brother shall have relations with her and take her to himself as his wife and perform the duty of a husband's brother to her. Okay, the husband's brother goes, just like the man over here said. Boaz said to the man, on the day you buy the field from the hand of Naomi, you must also acquire Ruth the Moabitess, the widow of the deceased, in order to raise up the name of the deceased. So I said, okay, you gotta have sex, gotta have a baby, gotta raise up, like I said over here. Perform the duty of a husband's brother to her, take her as himself as a wife. See, it's all matching up, huh? It shall be then that the firstborn to whom she gives birth shall assume the name of the father's deceased brother. So his name will not be wiped out from Israel. Okay, there we go. But if the man does not desire to take his brother's widow, then the brother's widow shall go up to the gates, to the elders. Oh, the gate, to the elders. They had a gate, they had elders. This is seeming kind of close, right? Huh. And say, so the brother's widow shall go up to the gate to the elders. But here in the book of Ruth, it's not the widows. It's not Ruth going up. It's Boaz going up. He went up to the elder. So they're not doing it exactly the same. It's not exactly the same in every detail. Maybe it's supposed to be the same. Maybe it's really close. They had case laws where they had case laws they had case laws. A case law is, let's judge a very specific case. Let's give a very specific ruling on that case. Now you take that case and you use that as kind of a measuring line for other cases. Use it as an example for other cases. So, oh no, my brother's widow, my brother passed away. Now I got a widow. What do we do? Oh, well, that's kind of like this case law in Deuteronomy. Let's look at this case law in Deuteronomy, figure out what to do with your brother. Oh, it says exactly what to do. Or, well, it's similar enough that it says what to do. Okay, there was don't muzzle the ox while it's threshing. What if somebody had a donkey they were using for threshing? I could come over and be like, hey, dude, don't muzzle that ox while it's threshing. It's a donkey. I know, but look in our law, don't muzzle the ox. It's kind of the same, don't you think? And the guy go, yeah, I guess so. So you kind of extrapolate out. Extrapolate. That's a big word. You take the one law, the very specific law, and then you use that as a precedent. Use that as an example to help you judge other laws. Okay, let's see. Where does the sandal come in? But if the man does not desire to take his brother's widow, so the man doesn't. In Ruth, the man's like, I'm not going to raise up offspring. I'm sorry, it's going to jeopardize my inheritance. Then his brother's widow, in this case is Boaz, his brother's widow shall go up to the gate to the elders and say, my husband's brother refuses to establish a name for his brother in Israel. He is not willing to perform the duty of a husband's brother to me. Now, she's not necessarily, Ruth is not necessarily Elimelech, Ruth's grandfather, is not necessarily the Redeemer's brother. He just says that I may know, for there is no one except you to redeem it. For you possess the first option to redeem it. It doesn't say that that this guy is Elimelech's brother or Mahlon or Killian's brother. It just says he's closer in line to redeem it. So again, case law, it's not exact, right? Okay. Then the elders of his city shall summon him and speak to him. Okay, so they summon the guy and say, hey, and talk to him. What are they talking to him about? And if he persists and says, I do not desire to take her, I'm guessing the elders are being like, are you sure you don't want to take her? And he's like, no, I don't want to. What he says, and if he persists, what if the elders are like, hey, take her. That's the right thing to do. And he's like, no, I don't want to. Okay, so let's say he doesn't want to. The elders, they ask him. And he said, so the elders say, so what happens now? I do not desire to take her. Okay, so this is looking very much like the same case, except instead of Boaz, it's Ruth. Then his brother's widow shall come up to him in the sight of the elders. This is okay. If you already read the next sentence, here you go. And pull his sandal off his foot, and spit in his face. What the heck? Pull, like, here, give me that. Got your sandal, and you can have my spit. What in the world? Spit in his. Everything symbolic. Why the sandal? I don't know, but of course, spitting is a very is a shaking hands. That's universal. Hi, waving, that's universal. Spitting in somebody's face, that's pretty universal. That's not like it's an only, in some. There's a movie, Ace Ventura: When Nature Calls, the second Ace Ventura movie. Ace Ventura walks up to some tribes in Africa. Now, this is a ridiculous movie. It's silly. It's a farce. The whole thing is goofy. It's completely meant to be completely off the wall, batty, silly. He walks up to the elders of this made up fake African tribe. He walks up to him and he's like, hey, what's up? And the elder goes, and spits in his face. And Ace Ventura, he's a white guy. He doesn't know anything about this African tribe. The elder spits in his face, and Ace Ventura goes. And then the elder's son walks up and goes, hey, and spits in his. Well, then the guide, like the jungle guide with Ace Ventura, says, hey, you have earned greatest regard. The spit to the face is the highest regard you can be paid. They like you. So the movie Ace Ventura, they took the whole spitting in the face thing that's usually negative. They flip it around and they say, wow, this is a good thing. Well, then it's really funny because Ace Ventura goes and gets a huge loogie, and then they show you, and then they all walk out and they got live all over him. So they flip it around. But here, spit in his face. Why? Because he's not willing to raise up kids for his brother's widow. She is going to look bad because she's not going to have babies. Other people are not going to want to marry her because she's not a virgin anymore, most likely. Her brother's widow, they haven't had kids, she's not a virgin. And that was a wrong thing back then. When somebody was in that day and age, when somebody was not a virgin, they might be a prostitute and you'd be immoral and go do it with them. But as far as an official family name, you're not going to marry somebody who's not a virgin. They would see the women as tainted. That's no good. I think God's trying to work on this with them. He's trying to work in their structure. He's trying to say, I will come down to your level and make these laws and work in your mindset of the brother marries the deceased, the widow. The brother marries the widow. I'm going to try to work with you there. And hey, if you're not going to do this, we're not going to, if you're going to refuse to treat this lady in the way that you know how to treat her good, the way that you ancient people know how to treat this lady good, that is by having babies with her. They won't be yours. Raising up name for your brothers. They'll be your brothers. So you're treating him. Instead of just saying, oh, lady, whatever, go away. No, this lady is going to be allowed to come up to you in an official court proceeding, which women, they didn't do that stuff, but she gets to. She gets to spit in his face and take his sandal and declare, she shall declare, I do declare. She declares, this is what is done to the man who does not build up his brother's house. And in Israel, his family shall be called by the name, the house of him whose sandal was removed. If two men, a man and his countrymen, have a fight with each other, so now we're on to another case law. Verse 11 is another case law. So this sounds very much like this over here. But during the time of the judges, here's my guess. Here's my guess. Either A, they took the case law and they kind of are extrapolating off of that. And they're using that for this law. Boaz is saying it's not exactly the same thing. You're not the brother of Elimelech necessarily. You might not even be the brother of Mahlon and Chilion, you know. It has been a while. She's been a widow for a few years now. Or which Ruth technically isn't even an Israelite. She's a Moabite. Now she is an Israelite because as far, not ethnically, but as far as, hey, I have joined myself to your family and your religion. I'm living under your roof. We're basically family. She is an Israelite in that regard. She's probably converted to the Israelite religion. So she's as good as family. Not biologically, but as good as family. So that might throw a little kink in things. Ruth did not come up to the people. Well, Ruth was a Moabite. She might not know all this stuff. Boaz, though, being an Israelite, she might not know all this stuff from Deuteronomy. She might know some of it, but she wasn't raised with it. Boaz was raised with it. He knows about this. He's trying to be good to her. He's trying to say, hey, I'll get this done for you. Don't worry. How's he going to get it done? Tell her, hey, whenever you're going to come with me, and here's what you need to do. Yeah, you're going to spit in his face. Yeah, when he refuses. Wait, what? Ruth would be like, okay. Now she probably would because she's been very passive. Everything they've told Ruth to do, hey, do X, Y, and Z, she does. So I mean, maybe she would. But Boaz seems to be, so either A, they're taking this case law. Boaz is taking it and he's kind of working with it. Like I said, you take the case law, the exact law, and then you look at other similar circumstances, you compare it to the case law. That could be what Boaz is doing. Or through the time of the judges, so that's one. Number two, through the time of the judges, the judges was bad. Everybody was doing bad things. Everybody's worshiping idols, going after false gods, killing their family members and stuff. It was horrible. They had priests that weren't really priests and stuff. They would pay money. Hey, you're my priest. I'm going to pay you money to be my priest. What? They probably forgot. They could have forgot. This says during the time of the judges. So depending on how long after Deuteronomy, when Moses gave the law, which is right before they conquered Jericho, then they have time to conquer Jericho and defeat all the cities. Then the time of the judges, this is many years later. So who knows? Maybe they forgot and this got all mixed up. And instead of the law coming down exactly the sandal law, where she takes off her sandal, she spits in her face, it's kind of like, not everybody had the Bible. Not everybody had scrolls with the Torah, with Deuteronomy written on it. No. They would read it from time to time. They're supposed to teach their kids this stuff. Stuff could get lost in translation. You could teach your kids stuff, and by the time they teach their kids, they teach their kids, mistakes could be made. So they're doing what best they know to do from the traditions that's been passed off, and they know there's a sandal involved. They know that you need to get elders. That seems what's happening here. Which one is it? Is it A, they're taking the exact case law and extrapolating off of it and then saying, hey, let's make this case judged by this case law? Or is it B, they kind of got lost in translation. They don't know exactly from Deuteronomy, but they kind of know. They're taking what their parents have told them, and down throughout the ages it got changed. Could be either one. Okay. So, okay, I got to go ahead and stop soon. So here's what I'm going to say. We'll read verses 8 through 12. Okay. Verses 8 through 12. Okay, here we go. Then Boaz said to the elders and all the people. So there were elders and there were people there. Okay, so maybe earlier, whenever I was like, maybe the elders are all the people. Seems there are elders and people. Yes, that is my cat. It is close to his dinner time, but he's still got like 35 minutes. We have our cats on the time schedule. We feed them twice a day. We have an alarm that goes off. When the alarm goes off, they freak out because they hear the alarm and they know it's food time. It's still a pest though, meows when there's no alarm. Okay. Then Boaz said to the elders and all the people, you are witnesses today that I have bought from the hand of Naomi all that belonged to Elimelech and all that belonged to Chilion and Mahlon. They come up again. Furthermore, I have acquired Ruth the Moabitess, the widow of Mahlon. Okay, now we know who. Okay, to be my wife in order to raise up the name of the deceased on his inheritance, so that the name of Mahlon, the deceased, will not be eliminated from his brothers or from the court of his birthplace. The gate. You are witnesses today. He could say, and furthermore, I didn't spit in his face. And all the people who were in the court, remember the gate is like an official place, the court, all the people and the elders said, we are witnesses. May the Lord make the woman who is coming into your home like Rachel and Leah, both of whom built the house of Israel. Rachel and Leah were Jacob, whose name was changed to Israel, Abraham, Isaac, Jacob. Jacob's name changed to Israel. Rachel and Leah were Jacob's wife. So he had all 12 sons by Rachel and Leah. Rachel and Leah, all 12 tribes of Israel. That's who Israel is. It's 12 tribes, all from Abraham, all from Jacob and his 12 sons. So may Ruth be like Rachel and Leah, who built the house of Israel. And may you achieve wealth in Ephrathah and become famous in Bethlehem. So may Boaz achieve wealth and become famous. Moreover, may your house be like the house of Perez, who Tamar boarded Judah, through the descendants whom the Lord will give you by this young woman. Perez and Judah and Tamar, that was a crazy story. But for now, you get the point. Like your ancestors, may y'all be raised up and such. Okay, we're going to go ahead and stop there. We're going to call this one good. This Ruth Bible study. Next time, we will go through painstaking detail, several Bible chapters, several Bible studies, and study Ruth chapter 4. But for now, hey, we got it done, at least this chapter. The half part of the chapter. Yeah. All right, guys. I'm going to go. I'm going to go share screen. Go to the old Google machine. Find us a prayer at the Book of Common Prayer. BCP online. Let's go see. Who says you can't write out a prayer? And say a prayer. Why not? Why the heck not? Prayers and thanksgiving, the Holy Eucharist, pastoral offices, Holy Baptist, collects. Let's look at the collects. Concerning the proper of the traditional. Let's look. Seasons, holidays, various occasions of the Holy Trinity. Okay, here we go. Let's pray about the Holy Trinity. Why not? Oh, hey, for all baptized Christians. Okay. Okay, guys, here's our final prayer for our Ruth Bible study right here. 7, for all baptized Christians. Grant, O Lord, to all who have been baptized into the death and resurrection of your Son, Jesus Christ, that as we have put away the old life of sin, so we may be renewed in the spirits of our minds and live in righteousness and true holiness, through the same Jesus Christ our Lord, who lives and reigns with you in the unity of the Holy Spirit, one God, now and forever. Amen. Awesome, guys. We'll see y'all in the next very basic Bible.